The bar was buzzing with laughter, dim lights glowing over polished tables as friends clinked glasses in celebration. Jabelle stood among them, a faint smile gracing her lips. She hadn't wanted to come. Nights like this, fancy, loud, carefree, weren't really for her. But after relentless convincing from her coworkers, she gave in. Just tonight, she had told herself, thinking of her 3 little ones fast asleep back home. Jabelle wasn't just a nurse. She was a mother to triplets. A single mother. Every day was a routine of endless work and endless love. Her children were her entire world. And as much as she tried to blend in with her colleagues' laughter and carefree jokes, her thoughts kept drifting back to them. She took a hesitant sip of her drink, grimaced, and forced a laugh when everyone teased her about it. I'm not staying long, okay? My little ones are waiting. They'll start searching the whole world for me if I don't come back, she said lightheartedly. No going home, Arlene chimed in. Didn't we all agree we'd crash at Chelsea's condo tonight? Come on, JB, you promised. Jabelle hesitated. She didn't like breaking promises, not to her friends, and definitely not to her children. I didn't tell them I wouldn't come home. They'll be worried, she said, her tone uncertain. Then bring them here. Or let the sitter handle it, someone else added. After a few more minutes of convincing, Jabelle stepped outside and called the sitter. The kids were still awake. Do you want to come see Mommy? Just for a little while, she asked gently. 15 minutes later, a taxi pulled up. Out came 3 children, fresh-faced, smiling, dressed neatly, each carrying a small backpack and their favorite bedtime storybook. Jabelle welcomed them with open arms, and they clung to her like puppies who had missed their mother all day. Inside the bar, she asked a waitress if the kids could sit in the corner booth near the entrance. They weren't causing a fuss, just sipping juice, coloring, and giggling softly amongst themselves. That's when Martin, the head of security, noticed them. He frowned, standing tall with a no-nonsense posture. For him, rules were sacred. Children had no place in a bar, even if they were quiet and behaved. He approached the booth like a soldier marching into battle. Whose kids are these? He barked. They're mine, Jabelle responded from across the room, already walking over. Martin folded his arms. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to take them outside. This is an adult establishment. They're not disturbing anyone, she replied calmly. Just sitting quietly. I won't be long. It's not about that. It's policy. Martin turned to the kids. Come on. Let's go. The children looked up, startled. Caleb clutched his storybook tighter. Emily looked to her mother in confusion. Jabelle stepped between them. Please, she whispered. They're just here to see me for a little while. But Martin was unmoved. Out. Now! With a heavy heart, Jabelle gathered her kids, apologizing to them quietly. They hadn't done anything wrong. They had just wanted to be close to their mother. Outside, the kids sat on a bench, shivering slightly in the night air. Jabelle wrapped her coat around them. She wanted to cry, not because she was embarrassed, but because the world could be so unfair. Martin returned inside, feeling satisfied. Rules were rules, and he had done his job. What Martin didn't know was who those children really were. Back home, Jabelle's children weren't just anybody's kids. They were the triplets of Governor Solomon Devereux, a powerful and respected man in the state. Years ago, Jabelle had been married to him, in a relationship kept hidden from the public to avoid political scandal. When the marriage ended quietly, she walked away from that world, choosing peace over power, raising her children away from cameras and headlines. She never used the governor's name to get favors. She lived simply, worked hard, and loved her children fiercely. But tonight, what had happened wasn't about policy. It was about dignity. The next morning, the story surfaced. One of the bar patrons had filmed the interaction. The clip showed three well-mannered children being escorted out despite doing nothing wrong, while their mother pleaded softly for understanding. The video went viral. Comments poured in. Why throw kids out who were behaving better than adults? That mother handled it with such grace. This security guard needs to learn compassion. Within hours, the governor's office responded. A spokesperson confirmed. Yes, those are the governor's children. MS. Jabelle is a remarkable woman who has chosen to raise her children privately. The governor supports her fully and is disheartened by the way his children were treated. Media exploded. People were stunned. The same kids people assumed didn't belong turned out to be more dignified than most. And the woman, dressed simply, who had been dismissed, had more grace than anyone in the room. The bar issued a public apology. Martin was suspended pending review. But Jabelle? She didn't comment. She wasn't interested in interviews or spotlight. She stayed quiet, focusing on her kids, helping them with homework, making their favorite breakfast, laughing with them like always. To her, what mattered wasn't who knew her children's names, it was who they became. Kind. Strong. Compassionate. Weeks later, Jabelle received a letter. Dear Ms. Jabelle, I owe you an apology. Not just as a security officer, but as a human being. I judged your children without knowing them, and I enforced a rule without wisdom. Watching that video, I saw what I failed to see in the moment: respect, calmness, and love. You are raising remarkable children. I hope someday I can do better. Sincerely, Martin. She folded the letter, smiled, and tucked it away. Her children didn't need the world to validate them. But sometimes, the world needed a gentle reminder: never judge a person's worth by their appearance. Never assume someone's story just by what you see on the surface. Because one day, the person you treat poorly might turn out to be more important than you ever imagined. And one day, that quiet, humble mother with 3 kids in tow might just be the reason you learn what true dignity really means. The days following the viral video were filled with unexpected attention. News crews arrived at Jabelle's modest home, but she politely declined every interview request. She wasn't interested in fame or public sympathy. What mattered most was her children's well-being, their sense of safety, and the quiet life she had always fought for. At school, the triplets noticed a sudden change. Other children who had once ignored them now whispered their names with a mix of awe and curiosity. Teachers spoke kindly, and some parents approached Jabelle to express admiration. Yet, through it all, Jabelle remained humble. She knew this attention was fleeting, just a ripple in the endless sea of life's challenges. What truly mattered were the lessons she taught her children every day: kindness, resilience, and the courage to stay true to oneself even when the world seemed unfair. Governor Devereux, who had been silent throughout the media storm, finally reached out personally. He invited Jabelle and the triplets to the governor's mansion, not for show, but to reconnect as a family. It was a step toward healing the wounds of the past. Jabelle was hesitant at first. Memories of their complicated history lingered, but the thought of her children feeling proud of their father, and the possibility of family unity, softened her heart. The meeting was simple but powerful. Governor Devereux knelt to greet his children, his eyes moist with emotion. He apologized for the past, for the secrecy, and for the burdens his position had placed on their family. "Your mother has raised remarkable children," he said, voice steady yet full of pride. "I am grateful to you, Jabelle, for your strength and love." That day, the triplets felt a new sense of belonging, not because of wealth or title, but because of the sincere bonds of family. Life didn't magically become perfect after the incident at the bar or the reunion. Jabelle still faced daily struggles as a single mother, but now, she carried with her a renewed sense of confidence. She knew her worth, and that of her children, was never defined by others' opinions or superficial judgments. Martin, the security guard, reflected deeply on his actions. His letter was only the beginning. Inspired by the incident, he enrolled in a course on empathy and communication. He wanted to be better, not just for his job, but for his life. This story spread beyond that small town, inspiring many to look beyond appearances and listen with open hearts. It reminded people that kindness isn't weakness, and that the greatest strength comes from compassion. Years later, Jabelle's triplets grew into confident young adults, carrying the lessons of humility, perseverance, and love into the world. They became leaders in their own right. Working in healthcare, education, and community service, always remembering where they came from. Jabelle watched them with pride, knowing that no matter the trials, love had been their greatest shield. And sometimes, the quietest moments, like a mother quietly defending her children, become the most powerful stories told as weeks turned into months. The story of Jabelle and her triplets became more than just a viral video. It became a symbol of strength and dignity in their community. Local groups organized talks on kindness and empathy, often using the incident as a case study on how assumptions can hurt innocent people. Jabelle, though initially reluctant, was invited to speak at some of these gatherings. She shared her experience, not to seek sympathy, but to inspire others to stand firm in their values and to treat everyone with respect regardless of background or appearance. Her message was clear and powerful. Never let others' judgments define you. Stand tall, love fiercely, and remember that your true worth lies in your heart, not in what others see. The triplets, now a little older, understood the weight their story carried. They attended school with newfound confidence, but remained humble, always mindful of the lessons their mother taught them. They volunteered at local shelters, helped younger children with homework, and led by example, showing that kindness and perseverance are the true marks of success. Martin, too, became a changed man. His colleagues noticed the shift in his attitude. He approached his work with greater patience and understanding. Sometimes, he even shared his story with new hires, reminding them that rules are important but so is compassion. He understood now that enforcing policy without heart can sometimes do more harm than good. One evening, Jabelle received an unexpected call. It was from the bar manager. He wanted to apologize personally for how things were handled that night. He admitted that the bar had been too rigid, too quick to enforce rules without considering the human side of the situation. "We want to make it right," he said. "We'd love to host a family-friendly event, maybe even help raise funds for causes that support single parents and children. Your family story opened our eyes." Jabelle was touched but politely declined. She was grateful for the gesture, but had learned that true strength came from within, not from public approval. Life went on, filled with the everyday joys and challenges of motherhood. Jabelle found joy in the small things: bedtime stories with her children, weekend picnics, and the quiet moments after a long day when her kids hugged her tight and whispered, "We love you, Mom." Sometimes, she thought about that night in the bar, the judgment, the rejection, and the unexpected recognition. It was a chapter in their lives that tested them, but it also reminded them of their unbreakable bond. In a world quick to judge and slow to understand, Jabelle's story stood as a beacon of hope, a reminder that dignity is not granted by status or appearances, but earned through love, resilience, and unwavering faith in oneself.